Every little or big thing that we go through, we think this is the worst thing ever. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody. And it can be helpful to realize that nothing we're going through is new. People have been experiencing and surviving in spite of all of these sorts of things all through history. There has never been a time of utopian peace and tranquility. That sort of existence is simply not on offer. It's not available to us. It's not in the catalog, right, of when you're a mortal human being. Life has never been easy. The life that we're given right now is as close to easy as humanity has ever gotten. And we can't stop complaining about it. So what does that tell you? We're so obsessively focused on our own stress. We think about our stress all the time. We talk about it. We like to tell people. We like to say to people, I'm so stressed out. I'm so busy. Here's what's happening in my life. We go around telling people how stressed out we are. You know, I said earlier that you should go back in time in a time machine and ask somebody in 1862 about their stresses. But actually you can't do that because first of all, you probably don't have a time machine, but also because the people in 1862 wouldn't have known what you were talking about. Stress is a modern invention. Prior to the 20th century, nobody talked about their stress. They didn't have that concept. To ask a person if they're stressed, they would have looked at you like, what does that even mean? Now, that doesn't mean that they didn't experience stress as we think of stress. It just means that they didn't use the word or think of things in that way, which meant that they certainly weren't intensely focused on the subject like we are today. In fact, the entire category of mental health would seem totally foreign and bizarre to pre-modern people. That's not to say that stress and mental health don't exist or are myths or something. Rather, it's just to point out how we've gone all the way to the other extreme end of the spectrum. We are consumed by the thought of our own stress and our own mental health. We are stuck inside our heads, constantly analyzing how we feel and how we feel about how we feel and how we feel about how we feel about how we feel. This only exacerbates the anxiety and the stress. It's a self-perpetuating cycle. That's why perhaps the best thing to do sometimes, I think, turn off the screen, put down the phone, go out and get some exercise, pick up a hobby, do something. I mean, engage in some kind of actual physical activity in the three-dimensional physical world and think about something else. Literally anything else, aside from yourself and your feelings. That's the other advantage that pre-modern people had, which probably gave them better mental health in the long run. They didn't have that category, they didn't think of it that way, and their lives were much more difficult. Still, they lived in the world, right? They lived in the physical world, for better or worse. They inhabited the spaces where they lived. They actually inhabited. They concerned themselves with what and who was closest to them and spent most of their time thinking about those things. So we should try that for a change. It'll do wonders for your stress and your mental health.